After a very competitive first round series against the Orlando Magic that lasted 7 brutal games, Cleveland had a very quick turnaround as they had to suit up less than 2 days after to take on the Goliath that is the Boston Celtics, the NBA's highest rated offensive unit, second highest rated defense, and the team that features the NBA's highest net rating by a pretty wide margin with a net rating of 11.7. By virtue of this, very few will be expecting the Cavaliers to actually pull off the upset outside of possibly Cleveland fans. They entered Game 1 as a massive underdog, and based off of what we saw, that will remain the case until Cleveland is able to rise to the occasion. With that in mind, I like to discuss the 4 numbers that stood out to me from Game 1. But before we get to that, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on daily Cavs content, and don't forget to smash that like button while you're at it. And if you want to help support the channel in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a paid member on Patreon. The link is in the description. Alright, now that the bills have been paid, let's get to the action, shall we? Number 1. 8. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac Okoro seems to have regained his confidence as he was letting it fly in Game 1 as he knocked down 3 triples en route to 11 points. But the best part is that the Auburn product would attempt 8 triples throughout, which tied Darius Garland for second most on the team. In fact, that is the most he has attempted in well over 2 months. The team that he had most recently done that against, well, that would be none other than this very same Boston Celtics team back on March 5th, which coincidentally marks the Cavs' only regular season victory over the Celtics. Pretty crazy. This is a huge development that I hope continues because Okoro was basically an offensive no-show at times during the first round. He averaged just 4.9 points and completed a frigid 35.3% of his shots, including 23.5% from three-point distance. You could tell that his confidence was non-existent as he passed up open looks on more than a few occasions. During the regular season, all 11 of Okoro's three-point attempts were considered to be open or wide open, with 10 of those being considered wide open. They made a calculated decision to give him a metric ton of space because they don't believe in his ability to shoot. He made them pay for it by shooting 6 of 11, or rather 54.5% on these looks. They deployed similar tactics in Game 1, with all 8 of his attempts being deemed open or wide open, of which he drilled 3. That's good for 37.5%. Now, if you ask Joe Mazzulla, he'd probably tell you that Boston is okay living with that outcome given Okoro's past struggles out on the perimeter. And if that's the case, the best thing that Ice could do would be to continue to make them pay for leaving him so much space to operate with. If he does, it'll only be a matter of time before they see the error of their ways in that respect. It's up to Isaac to follow through. Number 2. 5. This will be a quick one. One other positive from Game 1 is that the Cavaliers turned the ball over just 5 times. Including the regular season, that is actually their fewest total all season long. You have to go back to January 10th of 2023 to find a game in which they turned it over this little. And to take it a step further, Game 1 marked only the 7th time in Cavs history that they finished a playoff game with 5 or fewer giveaways. They now hold a 5-2 record in those. Cleveland actually took care of the ball, and by virtue of that, Boston was only able to score 2 points off of turnovers. This was a pretty unexpected outcome for a team that committed the second most turnovers as a unit in round 1, handing the ball over 14.7 times per contest. Hopefully, it's a sign of things to come moving forward. Number 3. 25. Coming into round 2, one of the players that had been on my mind heavy had been Derek White, a 7-year vet who was coming off maybe the single best individual season of his career. He put up 15.2 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 5.2 assists while completing over 46.1% of his field goals, including 39.6% of his three-point looks. He has elevated his level of play since the postseason began, arguably looking like Boston's best player in the first-round matchup with the Miami Heat. The veteran guard came into Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis averaging 22.4 points while completing a staggering 47.7% of his three-point attempts. He was on fire in the first round, and that heightened level of play has only carried into the next round. White turned the heat up a few degrees in Game 1 as he shot his way to 25 points on a highly efficient 9 of 16 from the field, including a scorching 7 of 12 from three-point range. The most frustrating part of it all was the space that he was often afforded on some of his looks. 10 of these 12 attempts were considered open or wide open.
Tracks it down as we cross the 9-minute mark of the quarter. White gets a screen, step back 3, target practice.
Now, I get Jason Tatum drawing a double or blitz, or Cleveland crashing down on him on his drives, but White has been torching teams all season long. I just don't understand taking the chance of leaving him open. You also have to execute your switches better. Boston will make you pay for it all the livelong day. White was definitely knocking down some highly contested looks that just left you chalking it up to good defense, better offense, but he must be accounted for at all times in my opinion. Number 4, 10. Of all the frustrating things from this game, perhaps none frustrated me more than the impact of Luke Cornette. With Kristaps Porzingis being sidelined for possibly the entire second round, Al Horford has been pressed into the starting lineup, which has essentially bumped Cornette into the rotation, and all he has done since entering it is make an impact. He is not going to score the basketball a ton, as evidenced by his collective 10 points through 4 appearances since the postseason began. That is not what he is out there to do. He is, however, dominating on the glass, pulling down a ridiculous 15.5 rebounds per 36 minutes over his last 2 outings, including 6.4 of the offensive variety. In Game 1, against the Cavaliers, Cornette snagged 10 rebounds with 6 coming on the offensive glass. He extended possessions for the Celtics, and he ended possessions for the Cavs on the other end. With Jarrett Allen not able to suit up at the moment, Cornette is using his size to his advantage, and it is paying off for Boston, who would out-rebound Cleveland 55-38 in Game 1. Evan Mobley and Tristan Thompson need to step it up in a big way to keep the Vanderbilt product off the glass moving forward. There you have it. These are 4 numbers that stood out to me from Game 1. Stick around as I will be dropping a by the numbers piece after every game. Go Cavs!